Hey everybody, welcome back. Monday Morning Briefing, episode number 136, and it is Thursday, February the 27th, 2025. We are back in the shop from the Prescott, Arizona show, the Southwestern Leather Workers Trade Show. Great show. If you were out there, we got a chance to meet you and stuff. We really enjoyed that. That show is really neat because we tend to get people from like California and Nevada and areas out that way that we don't usually see, especially at the Waco show, but also even at Sheridan. I feel like there's some folks that I see in Prescott that I don't see in Sheridan. Probably for obvious reasons, that's a much further drive for them. And so this show is a lot of fun. It's really nice doing these three shows in three different locations in the United States. I tend to get a chance to shake hands with you, meet you, see you in person, and even take a workshop with you, as far as you've been in our workshops and stuff. And that's a lot of fun. Whereas, a lot of times we're just talking on the phone or email or something like that. So we really enjoyed that. We did have some workshops while we were there. We'll talk about those in a minute. But first, I just want to kind of go over some of the things that I picked up. Usually, I don't do a whole lot of shopping when I'm at a trade show. I usually grab a few things here and there. Of course, I'll make a stop by Barry King's booth, grab a tool or two that I probably don't need, but I want. That's kind of the jewelry store for leather craftsmen. And so I do that, but as far as like supplies, but this time I did kind of get a few things that we've been needing to get just to save on the shipping. That's another advantage to going to one of these shows is, especially if you're driving. If you're flying, it's a little more difficult, but if you're driving and it's kind of near you with a little bit of a drive, you can pick up some of the supplies that you need and save on that shipping. As we all know, the shipping costs are getting, higher and higher every year, and some of this stuff is just kind of heavy, especially if you're ordering oils and finishes or even leather. The shipping costs can be a lot. So picking these things up at the show, if you've got room in your pickup or room in a trailer, that makes things a lot easier. But I'm going to go over a few of the things that I got. I didn't go crazy, but I did get some of the things while I'm there. Go ahead and grab it, throw it in the trailer. First stop I made was Barry King's booth. I usually like to kind of skim through there in the mornings before the show opens, and we'll just kind of go through there. And for the kids, I usually let them pick out a tool or two that they want, either a set stamp or something like that, or something to add to their floral carving set to start building that collection. Because as we know, to buy that complete set to do floral carving of any kind can be pretty pricey if you buy it all at once. So we try to work in a few of those. But I'm going to go over just a few of these tools, not real in depth. But one of these that I'm real excited about is this tool right here. And I hope you can see that in the video. It's basically a stylus, but it's got a really blunt end and then a rounded end on this side. I've seen these in his booth for a number of years, and they always kind of catch my eye, and I've been wanting to get one, not really having a use for it or knowing where I'd use it. But in the last year or so, as you might be aware, watching our channel here, I've gotten into doing a little bit of 3D embossing. I really, really want to get into that much more. And then we've always done some type of pictorial work here and there. And of course, with the wildlife saddle, I did a lot of pictorial work. So I dove into kind of the proper tools and techniques in that deal, and visited with Barry and Ryan about that. And this tool is really handy for that, amongst other things. And so it'll really work well for the 3D embossing stuff that I want to kind of play with, and then also the pictorial stuff. So I'm excited about that. It's just a stylus, pretty simple, but I think if you kind of have an interest in doing any pictorial work or embossed work or anything like that, no more than this tool costs, I think it'd be a good deal to add this to your collection just to try it out. I think it's going to have a lot of cool uses to it. And then as far as stamps, this is about all the stamps we got, but most of y'all that are watching know that a bag of stamps like this can be a little hard hitting on the billfold. So especially when they're set stamps. But we got a couple little border stamps for the kids, a little braided edge. I guess it's a braided border, it's not a rope, but it looks like it's a braided leather border that my daughter got. And then my son got a couple little set stamps. And then I got a couple more just matting tools that are checkered. We got one last year. I might have talked about it, but got one of these, and it's just a little matting tool that is for getting rid of that halo around your pictorial work when you're doing that. And so I got a couple more just like it, just in different sizes, and so we added that to our collection. Then I also went by the Phi Beings booth. So we had a few sponsors for our class, and we always do during these shows. And one of them is always Phi Beings. They supply all of our finishes. So for our antique, our die work, our finish work, stuff like that, they're really nice enough to donate some bottles for our class. So for our guitar strap class, we do some finish work and die work. And so we had those there. We also talked about our antiquing. So I went by their booth, and since I was there, I went ahead and picked up some die. I usually just buy dark brown and black. That's pretty much all I use in the shop. But this trip, I went ahead and got a thing of mahogany and a thing of chocolate, which I just want to try it. I just want to see if I can get a little different color with some stuff and just play around. So I went and got a couple bottles of those, and then a bottle of dark brown, which I was out of. If you're going through a lot of dye, I recommend the quart bottles. Just they're a little bit easier to deal with, and they last you a lot longer, and I think you're getting a better price if you buy the quarts versus the little bottles. But if you're going through a lot of different colors of dye and stuff, it might not be advantageous to buy a big old quart of something you're only going to use occasionally. So that's what I usually do with my colored dyes, is buy the smaller bottles. And then, of course, my antique. I used to use mahogany, but for our style and kind of what we like in the shop and just what our customers preferred, the mahogany seemed to have a little bit too much red in it for our clientele. And so we used to get comments about that. Just some people didn't like the redness in there. And so that's why we switched years and years ago to the dark brown or medium brown. Either one I can use interchangeably, I think, in the antique paste. And so, but I went ahead and bought a quart of the mahogany because there's some projects I'd like to kind of play with and kind of start bringing that back on a certain number of things, just to see kind of the effect and what it looks like. Another sponsor that we had in our workshops was Renia, and they make the glue, this Top Fit glue I think we talked about last year, and really good glue. I'd never used it before, and they had donated a little can like this for our class. They also donated a couple little of the little plastic glue pots and things. We never use them because we don't need to ruin those little pots at a show if we're not going to use up all the glue in them and all that, and then the brush gets kind of nasty. And these cans of glue come with a really nice brush on there. I'm really happy with this glue, the way it works. And so we're going to finish off this can here in the shop and just try it out and put it to the test. As you know, I usually just use weldwood contact cement from the hardware store. And I apologize, there's a train going by. There's not much I can do about that. But anyway, I just use weldwood most of the time. And it's nice because if I run out on a Saturday, I can just run down the hardware store and grab some more. But this stuff is really good. There was a bunch of folks in my guitar strap class that just used one coat and the liner glued on great. I'm a 2-coat guy when it comes to glue. I like to put one coat on and then freshen that up with a second light coat. But this stuff really does stick really well, so I like that. They also make the 3D embossing filler and the rubber cement for any of your 3D embossing projects and stuff, and we've been really having a lot of fun with that stuff. It's already mixed up. You can do the same with just rubber cement and leather dust, but this stuff being in a can, already properly mixed, makes it a lot of fun to use and just kind of simple when you just want to sit down and try your hand at 3D embossing. Another sponsor that we had was also Herman Oak Leather. Of course, they supplied all the leather that we used in our classes. So for me, just kind of behind the scenes deal, as far as from getting prepared for my classes. So for my two tooling classes that we're doing this year, we're just tooling some square panels, and Herman Oak will actually cut those, pre-die cut those for me, and they just ship those to the venue wherever we're at, Sheridan, Prescott, Waco, whatever. They ship those there. When I get there, they're in my room, they're ready to go. But for the guitar strap class or any future project classes, they usually ship enough leather that I need, say in sides, that I can cut all the pieces that we need for the class, because I have the dies here in the shop. So for the guitar strap, we actually cut a box specifically for the class that was full of 9, 10, and 5/6 guitar straps, and then we had a side or two of 3/4 ounce liner for those that wanted to line their straps. So that's just kind of how that works. But they always are nice enough to donate leather for all the classes. I think they donate the majority of the leather at these shows for every class. So if you come to one of these workshops at a show with Leather Crafters Journal, you're going to be tooling Herman Oak leather, which for a lot of people, that's the first time they've ever tooled on on it, and they're usually amazed at the difference in their work quality. And that's what I try to always explain to people. If you start with good material, you're going to end up with a better product. Just like cooking, you start with good, fresh ingredients, you're going to have a much better meal. But that works out pretty good. Another sponsor that we had was Leather Machine Co. They supplied the machines in our room for the guitar strap class. So we had a class 26 in there, and we had 2 class 18s. And those machines, there was, I think, 2 or 3 people in our class that had never sewn on a sewing machine before. And so that was a lot of fun to get them started and kind of show them how to sew on one, how easy it is. And so hopefully in the future, they get ready to purchase a machine. They'll have a little bit more knowledge on how they work and kind of, you know, the at least what the Leather Machine Co. machines feel like, and kind of being user friendly and that kind of thing. But I just want to say thanks to all the sponsors for our workshops and for everybody else's workshops. A lot of these guys put out a lot of product for these opportunities for people to come in and try the product in a workshop like that. And so we really, really do appreciate that. As far as some other product purchases, as y'all know, I've been playing with the Duff's leather products here, and we started with just the leather dressing. His leather dressing is really nice. I kind of use this interchangeably with Skidmore's. I really do like Skidmore's still, and I also like this. So I kind of use them kind of interchangeably, but this does have a little bit different feel once it's absorbed and dried in. And I'm really, really liking this stuff for, you know, headstalls, reins, saddles, reworks, things like that. This product is really nice on your boots and stuff like that. So we made a big order with Bob Bennett with Duff's Leather Products, Leather Care Products, and so we will get this on the website hopefully today, because we got a sale coming up this weekend, so we'll talk about that. But we will get these products on the website. So if you're wanting to try some leather conditioning oil, I use this in place of olive oil. And actually the last saddle that I built, for following us on Instagram, I oiled that entire saddle with this product. The thing I like about it is you don't get the leather dark as fast. And so you have a lot more leniency there, a little leeway, where you can put a nice heavy coat on it first, or a decent coat. You know, you don't want to sop it on there, but you put a nice, decent, even coat on, and it'll absorb very evenly. You don't get those dark spots. You know, it smells nice. All of his products have a really nice odor to them, real clean, fresh smell to them, and they seem to absorb really well. So I'm really liking this. I ended up buying, I think, 2 gallon jugs and then like 4 half-gallon jugs for the shop. And if people are interested, you can get them in gallon or half-gallon jugs from Bob at Duff's Leather Care Products. You can call up there or go to their website, and you can order this stuff directly from him if you're going through quite a bit of it. But we will put on these little 16-ounce bottles here on our website. So if you just want to give it a shot on a few small projects or something, you can certainly try that. And we also got a refill of the leather dressing, because we have been selling this for some time here really well, and people are really liking it. So we still got Skidmore's. I think we're running low right now, but we do need to order some more, because I like both products, but this stuff is really nice. He also threw in, or we got some just to try, is his boot wax. And I believe, you can call up there and talk to Bob, but I believe what he told me was that he's got a lot of guys buying the boot wax. It's a waterproofer. It's a little more dense. It's made for boots to kind of waterproof those for snow and rain and things like that, moisture. Works really well. It's got a lot more beeswax in it, I believe. But he said he's been selling it to a lot of guys to put on their leggings or their chaps to try to help them kind of be a little bit more water resistant. And he said it's doing really well. So we got a few of these. I'm not sure I'll put these on the website. I might, but if you're interested in one, you can certainly call the shop. I didn't get a whole lot. I think I got half a dozen or so just to give it a shot. And so that's what I got there as far as finishes and things like that. And then we also went by the Crosswinds Forge booth with Sean Woodsum. And Sean actually, so as many of y'all know, I've been using his knife here that I told him, here's a knife that I like to use, a trim knife. I use it daily. It stays in my belt. You guys have seen it in many videos. And I said, I want one similar, but better steel that'll hold an edge better. And so he designed this knife. This was the first one, and we ran it through the test here in the shop. I made a couple suggestions just on the shape of the blade. Because of the width of this blade, it makes it just a little bit difficult in real tight turns the way I cut things out. And so I kind of made a suggestion just to thin this down just a little bit here on the top. And so he did that like right after I got this knife. And those are the knives. If any of y'all have gotten this knife from him, this trim knife here that I use, you've got the newer version, because I don't think he sold any like this. I think he modified all of them that he had made with my suggestion, and people seem to be really, really liking it. So when we got to Prescott, he actually handed me this knife, which is the newer version, and you can see the difference in the blade right there. As far as the shape of the top edge right here, it tapers off much more, and that's going to allow you to really move around in a real tight space, whether you're going blade up and trying to cut in a radius, or if you're cutting something blade down on a bench like I do often in videos, you can really get that around there. So I'm really excited to use this knife, but he said you need an updated version. Here you go. And he's been selling a lot of these knives. I don't know how many he took. He did a video here this week on his Facebook page, kind of a little show update video, and he said it was a fantastic show, and I think he sold pretty much all the knives like this that he took out there, plus all his other knives did really well. So if you're wanting one of those knives, give Sean a call, and we'll try to get links down in the description of a lot of these folks, guys, so y'all can call them and check them out. I also wanted to get a decent round knife, just something that I could use daily for trimming horns, candle backs, or candle binders, when I get that roll shaped and everything, and then to start actually working more with cutting stuff out with a round knife. I don't do it a lot on my videos because these knives, without proper training or practice, and without them being super sharp, like leather sharp, not just sharp, these can be dangerous. And so that's why I don't use one a lot in my videos, because I would prefer somebody that gets into leather work just work on cutting it out the safest you can using the tool that works best for you. Not everybody needs to use a round knife. I know it's traditional, and if you want to do that, but be sure you practice with it, and you've got somebody that can kind of guide you as far as a proper way to use one, and that way you don't have any accidents. But I did want to get a good one. I've never had a really, really good one. All I've ever had is the Osborne knives, and they're okay, but they're not great, and they're very hard to get super sharp. And so I bought this. He calls it a little chino, and it's just a little small round knife. I made a case for it this week to hang on my bench, and I used this knife to cut it out with, and it worked great. Super, super sharp. I'm scared to use it too much because I don't want to mess the blade up. It's so sharp, I'm not sure I can get an edge on it again once I lose that edge like he has on them. His knives are just crazy, crazy leather sharp. But we got that one. Then my son took a class with Chris Andre there at the show, and we'll talk about that class here in just a minute, but he got to use a round knife for the first time, really. We've played with it just very minimal here in the shop with him because he's young, and so I just don't want him to have an accident there. And he's playing with learning how to cut things out, particularly veg tan. Shap leathers and thinner leathers are very easy to cut out. You get into your heavier 9-10 ounce weights of veg tan leather. It takes a little bit more skill, so we're working through that. But I went ahead and we got him his first round knife at the show, and he wanted the same one that Chris Andre had, which is what Sean calls the Mod 2, I believe. Yes, the Mod 2. But anyway, it's just a little modified round knife. You can use it with this long taper here to cut stuff out. You can also spin it around and use it there for cutting out smaller compound curves, things like that. And just like with any other round knife or head knife, you can skive with it. You can do all those things. And so it's a really neat knife. I figured it was a great opportunity to get him his first round knife, and he can use that in the shop. We can begin learning how to use that and proper technique and stuff under supervision. And then, we've also got another one added to the shop's collection so that we have multiple knives. So he's real excited about that. So we're going to build a case for this, and we'll screw it to the bench over here, and that way it's up out of the way, where he, is not tempted just to pull it out every 5 seconds and chance of cutting himself. So, but anyway, we've got those knives. So we did do that. Got 2 new round knives. Got a new trim knife from Sean Woodsum. I'll tell you what, guys, it's I've used just kind of everyday products for many years. It's kind of like years ago whenever we had the good discussion here on the channel about edgers. I had just used the Osborne edgers, learned how to sharpen them to make them work for me, used those for the first 10 years or better of our career, and then finally went ahead and purchased a good set of edgers from Ron's Tools. And Toby did a great job on them. He makes great edgers and French skivers, things like that, French edgers. And that just changed everything, because the tool metal quality and the way they're made really makes a difference in your ability to keep them sharp, maintain them, get them sharp. Same thing on these knives. Whenever you're buying trim knives or round knives, it's hard, I know, because they're expensive. But if you can get to that point at some point, where you're going to upgrade one at a time, right? You can't do it all at one time, but we go through and we'll just say, okay, we use a trim knife every day, or you're using a round knife every day on everything, every project. That might be something you want to upgrade to a higher quality, just so that you're not fighting that edge, because the sharpness of these, the sharpness of your edgers, the sharpness of your French edgers, all of that stuff really makes leatherwork a joy and safer, because if the knives are sharp, they'll do their job without you having to get in a bind. But just I think it's really worth the investment to kind of do that. As far as the class that my son took, it was a knife sheath class. He did a great job. They worked the first part of the day. I think Chris said I didn't go in there and bug him. I wasn't in there watching over him. I visited with Chris about him. I said he's not, he's in there to learn. If it's too much of a class, you think, then no big deal. But he said, no, he'll be fine. So we put him in there, and he really spent some time with him. My son had a blast in there. The first part of the morning, I think they went over design. So this is the knife that came with that particular class. I'm not sure if he's teaching this class in Sheridan or not, but it was a really great opportunity because you got another Sean Woodsum knife in the class. This is one of Sean's hunting knives, just a nice short blade, big round blade there for skinning, anything like that. It's a really good everyday carry hunting knife, and this knife, or one like this, they had different colored handles and things like that. When you took the class, it included the knife. So you got the knife. They talked about design, how to design a sheath for it, and then, of course, Chris had a pattern made up for the style of sheath they were going to make. So this is a sideways. It's got a little loop on there to hold the knife in so it won't fall out. And, they did really good. It was funny because my son said that Chris told him, he said, you can't carry this sheath. This is your first one, so you've got to make 4 more. And on that 4th one, you can carry that one, because you're going to be way better on the 4th one than you were on the first one. And so he's excited. So we're going to get another one started probably this weekend and get him rolling, because I told him when we go to Sheridan in May, he needs to be carrying this knife with his 4th sheath on there so he can show Chris and show him how much better it looks. So it was a lot of fun. He said the guys in there were great. They had a fun time. I had a couple fellas that were in that class that came up and said that my boy did fine in there, and he was watching, he was listening, and that's what it's about. We try to put our kids in some classes at these shows since we're there all week, and that way they can learn techniques, learn skills from other people, and I think they have fun doing that. And Claudia's taking some classes as well. So I always recommend when you go to these shows, if you can, go a little bit early, take a workshop. They're a lot of fun. They had a ton of workshops there. The show was good. Seemed to be a lot of people there. Big turnout. It seemed really good. I'm not privy to any of the numbers or anything else, but I would imagine their workshop enrollments were up. I hope they were up from last year. It seemed like there was just a full house at the venue. So I taught the depth and realism. It's an advanced floral carving class. We taught that class on Tuesday. and then it's an all-day class, and then Wednesday we did the guitar strap class, and that's where we work on some advanced tooling techniques, intermediate to advanced, and do some tooling. We worked on some geometric with a couple people. Some people wanted to put brands or initials on their strap. And then we worked on assembly and finish and things like that. That was an all-day class, went great. And then we also did a class on Thursday for a half a day, which was our beginner's floral carving class. That was probably one of my favorite classes of the week, just because we had a lot of true beginners in there that were just like, hey, I'm here to learn, and it seemed to have some light bulbs go off in that class on just technique and what we're looking at. We don't get off in the weeds in a lot of the techniques and maneuvers of intense floral design. We're basically just working on using the swivel knife, using the bevelers, what we're looking at, what's in the background, what's in the foreground, and starting to get that ability to read patterns in a very simple way. And that way you can kind of look at a pattern and know, even if it's just line art, you can know what's in front, what's behind. That's very important when you begin tooling floral. So it was great. We had a lot of fun. That class, it was just a great group of people. Seemed to really have it all week. All classes, we had just a big time in there. It was kind of one of the deals when the end of the day was over, it seemed like it just started. And we I could have stayed in there and tooled, till 7 or 8 o'clock if people wanted to. But we had things to get to and things to go on. I also judged helped to judge the carving contest that's at Prescott, and that was a lot of fun. There was a lot of really, really cool entries, especially in the pictorial part of that. There was just some really neat artistic pieces in there that I really, really enjoyed. It was really tough to judge that deal because on the pictorial one, there was a lot going on. There's some really cool pieces, and it's just like, how do you judge something that there's a lot of that stuff in there that I couldn't have come up with if I tried, and then how do you accomplish what they're trying to do there artistically? And it was just a lot of fun. I think I probably spent the most time on that category just because there were some really cool pieces in there. So next year, if you want to enter that deal, it's real simple. Even if you can't go, you can ship it out there. You can get on Leathercrafters Journal website, and they can get you any information you need on how to enter that for 2026. But it'll be in February, the Prescott show. I don't know if they have something like that at Sheridan, because it's pretty. They do. It's a World Leather debut, but this is just a carving contest. So you just carve a panel. You can kind of do whatever you want. It's a couple categories. Sheridan's World Leather debut. There's a lot of categories, a lot of projects, different things like that. So it's kind of the big deal. But a lot of fun. Speaking of my classes, I had a young lady that left a mall in my class. I think I know who it was because I remember when they were in there, we were punching the 1-inch slots for the guitar strap during assembly, and she was going to use her maul, and I felt like it was going to be a little light, and she was really going to have to swing it hard to get that to go through there. So I handed her my big, heavy 2-pound maul, and I said, use this one. You won't have to work as hard. And then I went about, and she did the deal, and everything was great. But she left her maul on my bench. So when I closed out my class, it was in there. So if you are out there and you're missing a maul and you can tell me what it looks like, you just call the shop, send me an email, whatever. We'll mail it back to you. We'll ship it to you. Whatever we got to do, get it back to you. Because I'm sure I tried to keep an eye out. I kept it, in my room. I had another class the next day. They never came back in there. And then I don't know if I seen them at a show. Like I said, I think I know who it was, but I may be wrong on that because there's a few ladies in my class, so I'm not really sure exactly who it was. But if you are missing one, you got home and you went through your stuff, said, oh, what did I do with my maul? I got it. So just shoot me an email, give us a call at the shop. We'll get your address and we'll get it sent to you because, man, you don't want to have to buy one of those again. Usually only buy one of those in each size one time because they last forever. So we don't want to have to buy that again. We'll certainly be happy to get that back to you. But yeah, great show. Finished up on Sunday and then headed back. We headed back Monday. We stayed Sunday evening and hung out with some folks that were stayed over till Monday. And then we left out of there Monday morning, came back home. We did the southern route this year, so pretty much I-10 from San Antonio all the way out there till we get to Phoenix and then go up to Prescott. So that was really neat to go through. I'd never been to El Paso before. Not a lot out there. So between about Ozona all the way to El Paso. There's not much there. And then from El Paso all the way out to Phoenix, there's not a lot there, but there's a lot to see. A lot of beautiful terrain. Claudia got to see her saguaro cactus, the big, huge armed cactus out there. We actually stopped in, I called it Casa Grande, but everybody around there seemed to call it Casa Grande. But that we stopped there. They have some ruins there. That was pretty cool. We did that on Monday because we made it into New Mexico and then stayed the night Saturday. And then Sunday we got on the road, and it's only 6 hours from where we stayed till we got to Prescott. So we ended up just kind of, milling around and seeing some things and taking our time. We were in no big hurry to get to Prescott on Sunday. And so we stopped there, and those ruins are really cool. If you're ever in that area, it's kind of neat to check that out. And they've got everything there. It's just a really neat thing. But yeah, on the way back, we ended up making it into Texas, almost to Fort Stockton, and stayed in Marfa, Texas, which was the first time I'd ever been there. Claudia had stayed there before in the Paisano Hotel. And so we ended up staying there. Got there, I don't know, it was probably 8:30, 9 o'clock. What was that been? Monday night. And we stayed there at the hotel. Got a hookup because it's Monday night, and nothing going on. So got a pretty good deal on a room and a beautiful hotel, absolutely beautiful. It was actually in the movie Giant with James Dean in the 50s. Actually, we learned while we were there that the whole crew and actors and stuff all stayed in that hotel and had their meetings and their meals and stuff like that in there. So it was really neat to see that. And then went to Alpine, Texas the next morning on our way home to get back towards I-10. Ended up stopping at Big Bend Saddlery and visiting with Gary Dunshee, who I've met years and years ago. He's a super, super nice guy. Got a really, really cool business. We've had him on the podcast, and just a wealth of knowledge and a very interesting man to just sit around and visit with. And so I got to see his shop and visit with him and talk to him and met a couple young men in there working, building saddles and doing the thing, and just typical saddle shop. They're in there just hustling, getting it done, slinging leather, and it was really neat deal. They've got a really beautiful store. They got a whole lot of neat things in there. So Claudia and the kids found some stuff we needed for the barn and different things like that. So they were in there doing some shopping while we were there. And then we got here, like I said, Tuesday evening, probably about 8:30 or so, unloaded, and just started putting the shop back together. But we're glad to be home. We had a great time at the show, enjoyed visiting with everybody, getting to meet new people, seeing people we see at all the shows, and seeing those we saw in Prescott last year. We really, really enjoyed it, and we want to thank Ralph and Cheryl for putting on a great event. They do a really, really good job. They take care of the vendors. They take care of the instructors in the workshops, and they just do a really good job. So if you call up there, you're getting ready for Sheridan or whatever, and you were at Prescott, be sure and give them a thank you, because they are kind of buzzing the entire time they're there, not just Friday, Saturday for the show, but also starting on Monday when they get there. They're pretty busy making sure their instructors are taken care of, the rooms are ready to go, they've got everything they need, and anytime we need something as instructors, we can just reach out and they're ready to help us. So just be sure and give them a thank you if you see them or talk to them on the phone or something like that, because they do a really good job. Next show is Sheridan, Wyoming in May. We are going to be just doing our thing here in the shop until then. We'll be making some new videos. As you know, the round purse video came out before we left. The corner book, I just realized when we were in Prescott that I didn't have the back orders open on the corner book or the belt book that we launched the end of last year. And so if they're saying sold out, don't worry, we're going to put that on, because we're going to send an email and get some more of those coming our way, because we did sell out of our corner books in Prescott that we took with us. We got to do a little inventory catch up here today and tomorrow, make sure we're ready to go, because we're going to have a sale this weekend. So as we do usually, I'm not going to say we're going to do it every time, but normally when we get back from a show, for those that weren't able to go to the show, then we try to run our show special that we do while we're at a show. We'll do that the following weekend. So this weekend we'll be doing our show special. For those that weren't able to go to the show, it'll be site-wide. It'll just be on there. You won't have to have a coupon code or anything like that. And it'll be 15% off your order. So starting starting tomorrow, Friday, we'll do it just like the show. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you'll be able to, any order you make this weekend will be 15% off. So we'll do it just like we did at the show, or the same days we did at the show. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this weekend, any orders you make over the weekend, you get 15% off. So we'll check inventory on material packs. We ran a little light on material packs going out there just because Robin was still here doing some shipping. So we didn't take all of our material packs out there. And so we just took a lot of our patterns and things like that and merch. So all of that stuff. So if you're needing some material packs, we'll get to topping off those bins and make sure we've got stuff over the weekend. And so if you're needing something, patterns, anything like that, and like I said, those 2 corner books, we'll go ahead and get those to where you can order them whether they're out or not. And like I said, just know we'll have more coming probably next week. They're usually pretty quick. That book is done, so really all I have to do is tell them, hey, send me another 30, 40, 100, whatever we need, and they'll just print them and get them sent to us. So we'll go ahead and do that and allow back orders on those, because there was a lot of people that had emailed and asked, when are you getting more in? And I didn't know we were out of them, because on our patterns we do allow back orders because we can get them within a few days. So that'll be going on this weekend. Sale starting tomorrow, Friday, February the 28th, and it'll run through Sunday night. And so if you're needing anything, go ahead and do that. And then, like I said, we'll just be working on some new project videos. We've got a couple underway. We've got the new corner book coming out, hopefully here right quick. So you might want to be on the newsletter if you're not already, because we do usually do a pre-order on that through the newsletter only. So if you're not on the newsletter, you can go to dgsaddlery.com, sign up for the newsletter. You'll get an email from us when we do open that up. But yeah, we'll be working on that and getting ready for Sheridan. We're going to be teaching the same classes at Sheridan's. And two, I just realized those workshops are posted. So if you are interested in going to Sheridan and taking workshops, those workshops are posted on Leather Crafters Journal's website. So you can go there, click on the Sheridan Show. I think it's just the Sheridan Show. But anyway, Rocky Mountain Leather Trade Show. Click on that, and you'll see all the workshops that are available, mine and tons of other instructors, and you can get signed up for whatever day, whatever classes you want to take, workshops you want to take during the Sheridan Show. And but really, that'll be the only show we have. Other than that, for us personally, we do have a major show in Austin in March, so we'll be going to that. A couple little events here and there, but generally, we're just going to be working in the shop, getting things going, and just making more videos, making more project videos and things like that, and working on some stuff. But yeah, we're glad to be home, glad to be back in the shop, working on some stuff. Like I said, my shop is a total wreck right now because I just kind of brought everything in here, but I cleaned up my area so that I could piddle yesterday and kind of worked on a couple of projects I just wanted to play around with. But we've got some more saddles we've got to get going. I've got my show saddle started, kinda, so we got to get moving on that if we're going to have one for the debut. And we'll be doing a few updates along the way, little sneak peeks at that one, and then building some customer saddles that we've got to get started as well. I hope everybody's having a great week. I hope you're getting a lot of stuff done in your shop. And again, if we saw you in Prescott, good to see you. If we didn't, hopefully we'll see you in Sheridan in May, and then there'll be Waco in August, and we'll be at that show as well. But we've got plenty of time now. The weather's getting better. We're getting into spring, so hopefully you're getting some shop time and getting to work on some projects. We appreciate you guys watching, and be sure to go to dgsaddlery.com, sign up for the Leathercraft newsletter. Don't forget about the sale this weekend. It'll be 15% off, 15% off your orders through Sunday, so starting tomorrow, Friday. So if you need anything, it's a good opportunity. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next week in the Monday morning briefing.